Hey, how's it going, everyone? So, as you know, I got my 1999 Fender American Standard Strat with the Damasio FS1 bridge single coil. So, what I did was, I just changed the strings. So, the previous owner to this did put a new set of strings on there, but they didn't feel right. I'm used to Elixirs. I've been using Elixirs for years and years. I think they're probably the best string for the buck, just because now I'm not going to, unless I break one, I'm not going to have to change these strings. Just being a bedroom guitarist, for probably about 4 or 5 months now. So, that just made sense. So I had to change those out so I could be comfortable with it. But what I wasn't comfortable with was on the back of the neck. So I'm going to take this strap off here. So on the back of the neck on an American Standard Strat, as you can see, it's not super shiny anymore. It's more of a satin finish. That's not the way they come. So they come with a high gloss, urethane lacquered neck. And that's all well and good. Some people like it. I don't. I can't stand it. I can't stand a glossy paint. I can't stand a glossy, clear coat on a guitar neck. The reason being is even after cleaning it and keeping that back of the neck clean, and even the fretboard, when you do a good cleaning before you change the strings, after you change the strings, you are still stuck with a sticky, glossy neck. And I'm not comfortable with that. My hands aren't super sweaty or anything like that. But after playing for a little bit, 10, 15 minutes, your hands do start to sweat. And your thumb and palm stick to the neck. So if you're trying to slide up into chords or trying to slide up into single notes or whatever it is that you're playing, it's just super uncomfortable. So what I did is I did a little research, and I had an idea of what I was going to do with it anyway, because I didn't really want to remove the finish. I just wanted to kind of dull it down so it was a lot more smooth, so it was more of a satin feel. But I was reading, and people were using steel wool. People were using Scotch-Brite pads, like the green Scotch-Brite pads. And I was like, you know what? Well, I'm not going to use a Scotch-Brite pad because, they leave kind of a residue. I don't really like Scotch-Brite pads for woodworking. And I'm not going to use steel wool because it's an electric guitar with 3 giant magnets. So any of that dust left over from the steel wool is going to stick to the pole pieces or get inside underneath the pick guard and get into the magnet. Now, you're probably thinking like, oh, why don't you just mask it or cover it up? But that's not, this isn't a project that you need to get super involved in and take the pick guard off or mask everything. This is something that's going to be simple, that you're going to have to do once in a while in order to keep a satin feel on the back of the neck. So I'm not going to use steel wool. It doesn't make any sense. It's not practical. So I went with my gut instinct, and I got some 800 grit wet sand paper, and you can use it dry too. You don't have to use water on it if you don't want to. And the 800 grit it's a polishing sandpaper. And you can go up to 1,000 grit, you can go up to 2,000 grit, 1,500 grit. Those grits you would use for for polishing and cleaning up your frets themselves. But, I wasn't interested in doing that. The guitar was set up nice. It's been well taken care of. The frets are in perfect condition. I don't need to worry about, doing that right now. But what I wanted to do was get rid of that tackiness on the back of the neck. So what I did is I used a microfiber cloth. I used Barkeeper's Friend, which is right here. And, you can use naphtha. You can use a little bit of rubbing alcohol. Anything that's going to break down that grease buildup on the back of the neck. Simple Green's another good one. That'll get rid of that. Greased Lightning, those are good, but they tend to be a little bit heavier in the residue. But Barkeeper's Friend, that stuff's awesome. It's you use it for glass cooktops, you use it for countertops, you use it for all kinds of stuff. Stainless steel, polishing stainless steel. It's not a harsh abrasive, and it's not a harsh compound where it's going to build up on everything. So I used that, cleaned the back of the neck, took care of all that oily residue and dirt and everything that gets stuck to the back of your guitar neck. And I used the 800 grit sandpaper. I masked off the heel and any areas of the paint on the body that would be, touched by that sandpaper. And I just did a little, just up and down the back of the neck, keeping with the wood grain, being very deliberate and careful with it. Just to do the neck itself, you don't want to do the back of the headstock or do further down on the heel and the neck here. And I was able to knock that gloss down, and now it's a nice smooth satin finish, if you can see that. And no more problems. My hand doesn't stick to it. I can play for an hour or two without it being uncomfortable, and it took care of the problem. And I didn't remove the finish. So eventually, after playing for a while, that gloss is going to come back. That's just the nature of the beast. But just a helpful hint, use 800 grit wet dry sand paper. And if you want to, you can use a little bit of water on that. But I don't like to do that because it creates a pasty residue. That's a little bit harder to remove than just a powdery residue, which you can just take a microfiber cloth and remove. So I did do that, and it plays great. I love this thing. I do not regret getting rid of that Ibanez in order to get this. I love to listen to heavy metal, death metal, melodic death metal, thrash metal, whatever the type of metal is. I love it. I love it all. I just don't really enjoy playing it anymore. I've kind of lost the passion for it. So I just wanted to share that. I got the Strat now. I'm very happy with it. It does what I need it to do, and the thing is great. Best decision I've made in years as far as gear is concerned. And those of you that know me know that I go through gear, frequently. I buy something, either I buy too cheap and it's just not the great quality and I just get sick of it, or I get bored with it, I want to get rid of it. But in this case, going with the Strat, I didn't really want to, I haven't had that feeling yet, Every time I pick this thing up, I just want to sit here and play. And, that's really what a guitar is supposed to do for you, is that you want to play it. It's kind of crying out to you to pick it up and play it. Whether it's unplugged and you're just sitting down, quick to, play a couple of little riffs or whatever, or, if you're sitting down for, good practice. So, that's just my 2 cents. So, Some people may not want to do that because of the cost of an American standard, and they just rather not touch anything. It's more of an investment to them, whatever it is. Um, Doing something like that isn't really going to affect the value, so to speak. You know, you're not removing the finish or refinishing the neck. So just a little chip. Give it a shot, and see if you like it. Maybe you want to play the guitar a little bit more if it's not all sticky and glossy. All right, over and out.